Shanti. Murli date 3rd June 2022. Essence: Sweet children, this is a play about the graveyard, Kabristan, and the land of angels, Paristan. At this time it is the graveyard, and later it will become Paristan. Don't let your heart be attached to this graveyard. Question: by knowing what one thing will human beings have all their doubts removed? Answer: if they come to know who the Father is and how He comes, all their doubts will be removed. Until they know the Father, their doubts cannot end. By your intellects having faith, you become part of the rosary of victory. But you have to have full faith in everything within a second. Song: leave your throne of the sky and come down to this earth. Om Shanti. The Father sits here and explains to you children. This is the unlimited spiritual Father. All souls definitely change their forms. They come from the incorporeal world into corporeal forms to play their parts on the field of action. Children say, Baba, change your form just as we do. Surely, He would adopt a corporeal form to give knowledge. He would take on the form of a human body. You children also understand that you were incorporeal and that you then became corporeal. It is definitely like this. That is the incorporeal world. The Father sits here and speaks. He says, you do not know the story of your 84 births. I enter this one and explains to him. He did not know this. Krishna was the prince of the golden age. But this one has to come into the impure world in an impure body. Krishna was beautiful, but no one knows how he became ugly. They say that he was bitten by a snake. In fact, it was a question of the 5 vices. By sitting on the pyre of lust, you become ugly. Krishna is called Shyam Sundar, the ugly and beautiful one. I do not have a body that I would become ugly and then beautiful. I am ever pure. I come at the confluence of every cycle. When it is the end of the Iron Age and the beginning of the Golden Age, I have to establish heaven. The Golden Age is the land of happiness, and the Iron Age is the land of sorrow. At this time, all human beings are impure. You cannot say that the government of Lakshmi and Narayan, the emperor and empress of the Golden Age, is corrupt. Here, all are impure. When Bharat was heaven, there was a kingdom of deities. At that time, there was only one religion, and everyone was completely pure and elevated. Here, corrupt ones worship the elevated ones. Sannyasis become pure and so impure ones bow their heads in front of them. Householders do not follow the sannyasis. They just say, I am a follower of such and such a sannyasi. However, it is only when those people truly follow that they can be called followers. If you become a sannyasi yourself, you could then be called a follower. Householders become their followers, but they do not remain pure. Neither do the sannyasis explain this to them, nor do they themselves understand that they are truly following the sannyasis. Here you have to follow the mother and father fully. It is said, follow the mother and father. Break your intellects, yoga away from all bodily beings, and have a connection with only me, your father, and you will come to the Father, and you will then go into the golden age. You are all rounders. You take 84 births. You understand that your all round parts continue from the beginning to the end and from the end to the beginning. The parts of those of other religions do not continue from the beginning to the end. The original eternal religion is only of deities. At first, there was the Sun dynasty. You now understand that you go around the cycle of 84 births. But those who come later on cannot be all-rounders. This is something to be understood. No one except the Father can explain this. First, there is deitism. The kingdom of the Sun and Moon dynasties continue for half the cycle. The confluence age now is very short. This is called Sangam, the confluence, and also Kumbh, the meeting. Everyone remembers him. O Supreme Father, Supreme Soul, come and make us pure from impure. They wander around a great deal in order to meet the Father. They continue to hold sacrificial fires, doing tapasya, giving donations, and performing charitable acts, etc. But there is no benefit in any of that. You have now become free from wandering. Those are the rituals of devotion, and these are the rituals of knowledge. The path of devotion continues for half a cycle. This is a path of knowledge, and you are told at this time to have disinterest in the old world. Therefore, your disinterest is unlimited, because you know that this whole world is to become a graveyard. At this time it is a graveyard, and it will afterwards become the land of angels. This is a play about Kabristan and Paristan. The Father establishes the land of angels, which everyone remembers. No one remembers Ravan. By understanding the first main point, all their doubts finish. Until they first recognize the Father, they will remain those whose intellects have doubt. Those whose intellects have doubt are the ones who are led to destruction. Definitely, He is the Father of us souls. He gives the unlimited inheritance. It is only by having faith that we can be threaded in the rosary of victory. There needs to be faith in every word within a second. Since you say Baba, you should have full faith. The incorporeal is called the Father. In fact, they also called Gandhi Bapuji, Father. But here the Bapuji of the world is needed. He is God, the Father of the world. God, the Father of the world, must be very great. You receive the kingdom of the world from Him. The kingdom of Vishnu is established through Brahma. You also understand that you were the masters of the world. You were deities. You then became those who belonged to the Moon dynasty, then the Merchant dynasty, and then the Shudra dynasty. Only you children understand all of these things. The Father says, there will be many obstacles in the sacrificial fire of the knowledge of mine. This is the sacrificial fire of the knowledge of Rudra. The fire of destruction is ignited from this sacrificial fire. The whole of the old world will be destroyed, and the one deity religion will be established. The Father is explaining to you and telling you the truth. He is telling you the truth story of becoming Narayan from an ordinary human. Only now do you hear this story. It has now continued since the beginning of time. The Father says, you have now completed 84 births. Then there will be your kingdom in the new world. This is the knowledge of Raj Yoga. Only the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, has the knowledge of easy Raj Yoga. It is also called Raj Yoga of ancient Bharat. The Iron Age was definitely transformed into the Golden Age. Destruction too began. That was a question of missiles. There is no question of battles in the Golden or Silver Age. They take place later on. The final war will be with missiles. Earlier, they used to fight with swords. Then they started fire guns. Then cannons were invented, and now there are bombs. How else could the whole world be destroyed? Along with those, there are also natural calamities. There is torrential rain and famine, etc. Famine. There is torrential rain and famine, etc. Those are all natural calamities. For instance, earthquakes are called natural calamities. What can anyone do about them? Now, if people had taken insurance out, who would pay whom? All will die. No one will receive anything. You now have to insure everything with the Father. They insure themselves on the path of devotion too. But they only receive a short-lived return. Here you insure yourselves directly. Someone who insures everything receives a sovereignty. Baba gives his own example. He gave everything. He insured everything fully with the Father. And so he receives the full sovereignty. However, the rest of this world will be destroyed. This is the land of death. The wealth of some will remain buried in the mud, while the governments will take away that of others. When there is a fire somewhere, or if any disasters happen, looters go there and steal many things. It is now the time of the end. This is why have to remember the Father and give help. At this time all are impure, so no one can establish a pure world. This is the Father's task. They call out to the Father, "Come from the incorporeal world, come and adopt a form." The Father says, "I have come into the corporeal world and adopted a form, but I do not constantly stay in this one. You cannot write all day." They show someone riding a bull. They have also shown the fortunate chariot of a human being. Now is this right? Or is that right? They show a cowshed and also a cow's mouth. They portray someone riding a bull and knowledge being given through a cow's mouth. That represents the nectar of knowledge emerging, and it too has a meaning. There is even a temple to Gaumukh. Many go to see the temple. They believe that nectar is dripping from the cow's mouth and that they should go and drink that. There are 700 steps down to get there. In fact, this one is the greatest Gaumukh. They also make a lot of effort to go to Amarnath, although there is nothing there. They are all cheats. They have shown Shankar relating a story to Parvati, but Parvati was not so degraded that he would have had to sit and relate religious stories to her. People also spend a lot of money building temples, etc. The Father says, "By spending so much of your money, you have wasted all the money. You were once so solvent and you have now become insolvent. However, I have now come to make you solvent again. You children understand that you have come to the Father to take your inheritance. The Father is now giving you children this inheritance. Bharat is the place of the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. And so, this is the greatest pilgrimage place. The Father comes and purifies all the impure ones. If the Father's name were in the Gita, all would come here and offer flowers. No one except the Father can bring salvation. Bharat is the greatest pilgrimage place, but no one knows this. Otherwise, just as the Father's praise is limitless, so there is also the praise of the Bharat. It is Bharat that becomes hell and heaven. The limitless praise is of heaven, whereas the limitless defamation is of hell. You children are now becoming the masters of the land of the truth. You have come here to take the unlimited inheritance from Baba. The father says, Man mana bhav. Remove your intellects, yoga from everyone else and remember me alone. You will become pure by having remembrance. You have to take the inheritance by imbibing knowledge. Everyone receives the inheritance of liberation in life, but only those who study Raj Yoga receive the inheritance of heaven as well. Everyone will receive liberation. He will take everyone back home. The Father says, I am the death of all deaths. There is a temple to Mahakal, the great death too. The Father explains, at the end, when glorification takes place, people will understand that it truly is unlimited. Father, who tells you all of this? If someone were to relate a story now at a religious gathering and say that the God of the Gita is not Krishna but Shiva, everyone would say that one has been influenced by the Brahmakumaris. This indicates that it is not yet their time. They will understand later. If they were to believe everything now, their whole business would finish. Acha. To the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance and good morning from the mother, the father, Bab Dada. The spiritual father says Namaste to the spiritual children. Essence for Dharna. First point, break off all other connections and follow the mother and father fully. Let your intellect have unlimited disinterest in this old world. You have to forget it. It is now the time of the end and everything is to be destroyed. Therefore, before the very end, ensure everything you have and claim a right to the full future sovereignty. Sing, may you have elevated fortune and constantly eat and serve others with the nourishment of happiness of Brahmin life. We are the children and the masters of the master of the world. Constantly have this godly intoxication and happiness. Vah, my elevated fortune! This is my destiny. Constantly continue to swing in this swing of happiness. I am constantly fortunate for I am constantly eating and serving others with the nourishment of happiness. You give others the great donation of happiness and make them fortunate. Happiness is your life. To remain happy is to live. This is the elevated blessing of Brahmin life. Slogan: be tolerant in every situation and you will continue to experience pleasure. Om Shanti.